Are we sure the creepiest things only happen in horror movies? Imagine walking into an eccentric professor's apartment expecting to see piles of books. But instead, you are greeted by dozens of life-sized antique dolls. They're sitting on the couch dressed in beautiful vintage clothes, and some of them even play music. But then, you look a little closer at their faces and you realize those aren't dolls at all. This is the terrifying true story of Anatoly Moskvin. And I promise you, this one will stick with you for a very long time. In the early 2000s, authorities in the Russian city of Nizhny Novgorod started noticing a deeply unsettling trend. Someone was going into local memorial parks in the middle of the night and disturbing the resting places of young girls who had recently passed away. The community was completely terrified, but for years, the culprit remained a complete ghost. There was zero evidence left behind and the case went unsolved for nearly a decade. Fast forward to 2011, the authorities finally get a lead that points them to the doorstep of a man named Anatoly Moskvin. Anatoly was not your typical suspect. He was a highly respected local historian, a respected academic who could speak over 13 different languages. People had just thought he was a quirky, quiet intellect, but behind his locked doors, he was hiding a complete nightmare. When investigators stepped inside his small, incredibly cluttered small apartment, they found 26 life-size dolls scattered throughout the rooms. They were propped up in chairs, sitting around a table having a permanent tea party, and resting on his bed. But as investigators got closer, the terrifying reality started to set in. These were the missing girls. Anatoly had been sneaking into cemeteries at night, carefully taking the girls from their final resting place and bringing them back to his apartment. Anatoly would then put them through a bizarre, complex preservation process. He dressed them in elaborate dresses, knee-high stockings, and boots. He wrapped their faces in fabric and painted over them with nail polish to make them look exactly like porcelain antique dolls. To make things even more disturbing, he placed music boxes inside of their chests so they would play a sweet little tune when they moved. He lived with them like this for 10 years. He threw them birthday parties, watched cartoons with them, and talked to them as if they were his own children. He later explained that he felt terribly sad for them being in the cold ground, and he was simply taking care of them, waiting for science to find a way to bring them back. But here's the absolute most chilling part of Anatoly's story. His parents would visit the apartment all the time. They sat on his couch, drank tea, and spent time with him in those very rooms. For an entire decade, they completely believed his story that these were just large antique mannequins he was putting together as an eccentric hobby. They had absolutely no idea that they were sitting inches away from the missing girls that the entire city has been looking for. Anatoly was eventually diagnosed with a severe psychological condition and was sent to a secure facility where he remains to this day. So the next time you see a lifelike doll staring at you from the corner of a quiet room, you might want to look a little closer and see what could be underneath.